will understand the chapter Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, part 1, in the subject History. We all live in Maharashtra, don't we? And we are all therefore Maharashtrians, people belonging to Maharashtra. And we feel proud that we belonged here because it is truly a great state. We have had great kings and brave people in this land. There were great scholars and wise saints that lived here too. We have great temples, amazing caves, and very strong forts. Anything and everything you can think of, we can find in Maharashtra. And even in the stories of the gods, we find a lot of Maharashtra. When Ram and Sita were in exile, they lived in the forests of Maharashtra. A young saint called Jnaneshwar lived in Maharashtra. When he was 16 years old, he wrote a book called Jnaneshwari, which has a lot of wisdom in it. Jnaneshwari teaches people how to live and behave. Once, the foreign rulers, who were called the sultans, started ruling over Maharashtra. Do you know how they could attack and so easily destroy a strong city? It was because the kings of Maharashtra did not keep a watch on what was going on in the rest of India, and they just moved south and brought their attack down to Maharashtra. We will further understand the situation of Maharashtra. At the beginning of the 17th century CE, before the birth of Shivaji Maharaj, most of the territory in Maharashtra was under the control of Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar and Adil Shah of Bijapur. Bijapur Sultanate, located in southwestern India, straddling the Western Ghats range of southern Maharashtra and northern Karnataka. The Bijapur Sultanate was ruled by the Adil Shahi from 1490 to 1686. Ismail Adil Shah and his successors embellished the capital of Bijapur with numerous monuments. The Adil Shahis fought the Vijayanagara Empire, which lay to the south across the Tungabhadra river, but fought the other Deccan sultanates as well. In 1619, the Adil Shahis conquered the neighboring Sultanate of Bidar, which was incorporated into their realm. Nizam Shahi was handled by Malik Ambar, who established Aurangabad city. After the death of Malik Ambar, the main army commander of Nizam Shahi was Shahaji Raje Bhosle. He kept Murtuza Nizam Shah as king and managed whole Nizam Shahi for 3 years. Of the Bahmani Sultanate in 1518, the Maharashtra region was split between five Deccan Sultanates. The first one was Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar, then Adil Shah of Bijapur, Qutub Shah of Golconda, Bidar Shah of Bidar, and Imad Shah of Berar. These kingdoms often fought with each other, but united, they decisively defeated the Vijayanagara Empire of the south in 1565. The Khandesh region was ruled by Faruqi dynasty between 1382 to 1601 before finally being annexed by the Mughal Empire. The objective of the Mughals was to expand their power in the south. Why did the Mughals wanted to expand their power in Maharashtra? The Mughals wanted to expand their power in Maharashtra because of the wealth that Maharashtra had. The spices, grains, gems, etc. made the Mughals to enter into Maharashtra. There were settlements of Siddhi people who had come from Africa along the coastline of Konkan. The competition and conflict amongst the Portuguese the British, the French, and the Dutch, who had come from Europe, was getting intense during this period. There was stiff competition amongst them to capture the markets for trade. The Portuguese had already established their rule in Goa and Vasai on the western coastline. The British, the Dutch, and the French had found an entry through the medium of trading companies by setting up factories. All these powers assessed the strength of other powers, kept themselves safe, and tried to dominate as much as possible. This conflict had created instability and insecurity in Maharashtra. These different people from Europe were called Topkar on the basis of their customary headgear. So today we will get acquainted with the village, which is also called Moja, Kasbah, and Paragana. We will understand the nature of settlements in that period, as also of the officers that form the link between the rulers and their subjects, and also the markets and the craftsmen. Most of the people lived in villages. A village was also called as Moja. We have seen the hierarchies in the administration of a country, such as prime minister, president, parliament, governor, etc. Similarly, there was an hierarchy of administration in the village. The chief of the village was the patil. His job was to look after the lands which are under cultivation, and he used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation. When there was any dispute in the village, the patil resolved it amicably and made peace. Amicably means with friendly nature. A Kulkarni kept the record of the revenue that was collected. Revenue means taxes. So the Kulkarni used to keep record of the collected taxes. You might have heard these names, Patils and Kulkarnis, as surnames, but earlier it was a post, and the person on that post was called by that name of the post, and later it got continued as surnames of the people. There were various artisans in the village. Artisans means a worker who is in a skilled trade, especially one that involves making things by hand, such as craftsmen. You can see in these pictures the people who are drawing, painting, making pots, all are craftsmen, all are artisans. Artisans had hereditary rights regarding their occupation. Hereditary rights means a title or a position in society that is passed on as a right from parent to the child. The peasants, the farmers gave a share of their agricultural produce to the artisans for their services they rendered to the village community. That means the services were remunerated by the cultivators in the form of an annual payment in the sheaves of corn and a few sears of other grain grown in the field, such as wheat, gram, tur, groundnut, and others. This share was known as baluta, where people used to give grains in return for doing any work. Balutedars are service providers. A kasbah is a town. It is bigger than a village. It was usually the headquarters of a paragana. Pargana is a group of villages. Many villages make a pargana. So, for example, if Indapur Pargana has many villages, the headquarter of that Pargana is called Indapur Kasbah. Similarly, Vai Kasbah is the headquarters of Vai Pargana. The primary occupation was agriculture, and agriculture was the main occupation in Kasbah. There were other occupations as well, such as the artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, potter, etc. in the Kasbah. We have seen markets in our villages. The market in the Kasbah is called as Pet, and the Pet is adjacent to Kasbah. The Shete and Mahajan were the Watandars of the Pet. Watandar is an Indian term meaning landholder. Watan also means it is an Arabic word. Watan is an Arabic word. In Maharashtra, it is used referring to the hereditary land for which the holder does not have to pay revenue. The title was given to landowners, particularly in Maharashtra. The Watandar generally owned a plot of land or Watan, worked by local people who were dependent on the Watandars for their subsistence. Every village did not necessarily have a Pet. The setting up of a Pet was the job of the Shetis and the Mahajans. For that, they received some land from the government and some rights from the villagers. The Mahajans maintained the account of the Pet. Now, here there are some more Pets. As per the order of Veer Mata Jajabai, a Pet was established in Pashan near Pune. It was called Jijapur. Malpura, Khelpura, Paraspura, Vithapura in Aurangabad are also new Pets established in the name of Maloji, Kheloji, Parasoji, and Vithoji, respectively. Shivapur, adjacent to Khed, was a Pet established in the name of Shivaji Maharaj. Now let's learn a new thing. The way we use words like New Mumbai and Mumbai. The words Badruk and Khud are used to show that the two villages are different. The original town is Badruk and the new one is Khurd. For example, Vadgaon Badruk. That means the Vadgaon Badruk is the original town and Vadgaon Khurd is the new Vadgaon. So therefore it is named as Vadgaon Khurd. Many villages together make a pargana. All the parganas have different numbers of villages. For example, Pune Pargana was a big pargana. It consisted of 290 villages. The Chakan Pargana consisted of 64 villages. The Shirwal Pargana was small with only 40 villages. The Deshmukh and Deshpande were the Watandar officers of Pargana. Patils were the chief of the village and Deshmukh were the chief of the Patil. The Patil used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation and resolve disputes on village level. The Deshpande did the same work but on Pargana level. The Deshpande was the chief of all Kulkarnis. The Deshpandes kept record of taxes on Pargana level. These Watandar officers were the link between the people and the government. In case of enemy invasion or drought, these Watandars represented the grievances, problems of the people to the government. Sometimes these officers misused their powers. They collected more money from the people than was due or did not give the money on time to the government. On such times, the people suffered harassment from the government. So now we will move on to the question and answer part of this lesson. Question number 1. Complete the following chart. We have to write the meaning, officers, and example for the each part. Village, Kasbah, and Pargana. A village is a village, and the officers of the village are Patil and Kulkarni. A village is also called as a Khurd. So here is an example: Vadgaon Khurd. Kasbah is a big village, and the officers in Kasbah are the Shete and Mahajan. A Kasbah is also called as Vai Kasbah, Vai Pargana. A Pargana consists of many villages together and makes a Pargana. The officers in a Pargana are Deshmukh and Deshpande, and the example is Pune Pargana. Question number 2. Write the meaning. What is the meaning of Badruk? Badruk means the original village. Balut. Balut is a share of agriculture of the peasants rendered to village communities. We have seen Balut in the village. Vatan. Vatan means hereditary land for which the holder does not have to pay revenue. Question number 3. Answer the following questions in brief. What are the works of the officers in a village? The chief of the village was the Patil. He used to try to bring land under cultivation. When there was any dispute in the village, the Patil resolved it and peace. A Kulkarni helped the Patil in his work. The Kulkarni kept the record of the revenue that was collected. Question number 2. How does a pate work? A pate is a market. There was usually a market, a pate, adjacent to a kasbah, that means beside to a kasbah. The Shete and Mahajan were the Watandars of the pate. Every village did not necessarily have a pate. The setting up of a pate was the job of the Shetes and the Mahajans. The Mahajan maintained the accounts of the pate. What were the works of the Deshmukh and Deshpande? The Deshmukh and the Deshpande were the Watandar officers of the Pargana. The Deshmukh was the chief of Patils in a Pargana. The Deshmukh did at the Pargana level what the Patil did at the village level. The Deshpande was the chief of all the Kulkarnis in the Pargana. The Deshpande did at the Pargana level the work that Kulkarni did at the village level. These Watandar officers were the link between the people and the government. Question number 4. How did the officers misuse their powers? In case of any invasion or drought, these Watandars represented the grievances of the people to the government. Sometimes these officers misused their powers. They collected more money from the people than was due, or did not remit the money collected to the government in time. On such occasions, the people suffered harassment. Thank you, students. Now we will meet in our next session.